All right, let's talk about preparing our blog posts for publishing, specifically for the purpose of a link building outreach campaign, where we're going to reach out to other blogs to get them to link back to our blog post. Promotion and outreach are a campaign, and you need to think of it as a campaign because you're going to need a strategy that you're ready to execute for as soon as your article is published. We're not just going to publish our article and then hope other people link to it, because that just doesn't work anymore. We're going to make active efforts to get other blogs and websites to link to our content. And this video is going to kind of break down some of the tools and things that we're going to need to find the sources that we're going to reach out to and basically get ourselves ready for hitting that publish button for our blog post. If you're not really familiar, outreach is the process of emailing or otherwise contacting other people like bloggers and website owners for the purpose of getting backlinks or social shares or publicity from them. And why do we care about this? Well, we care about backlinks in particular because high quality backlinks are the single most important ranking factor in Google's algorithm. More backlinks that we can get from real high quality reputable websites means that your blog post and your website are going to be more likely to rank well for the target keyword that you're going after. And we're going to be using a few different specific outreach methods to reach out to these other blog posts that we're going to talk about. But I want to first get us ready to be in a position to do that research and to get ready for it. And we're going to need a few different tools in particular, and I want to go through them right now. So first, we're going to talk about the things that we're going to need, the tools. We're going to need a spreadsheet. I know it sounds really simple, but you can use either Excel or Google Sheets. It doesn't really matter. You're going to need a spreadsheet because you will need to track your contacts and your outreach attempts and all of that. We're going to use another piece of software called Hunterio. This is a research tool that we're going to use to find people's email addresses. And the third component are SEO tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush or BuzzSumo. These are different tools that are going to be in particular useful for finding other articles and finding content that we're going to want to reach out to. And these are really good for just different types of outreach, and we're going to talk about them specifically. But for now, I want to kind of go through these one by one. And I want to talk about next our spreadsheet. So before anything else that you do, you're going to need to create a spreadsheet. I know it's really exciting stuff, a spreadsheet, so what? The spreadsheet you're going to be using so that you can track your outreach data and your outreach efforts, and a copy of the outreach spreadsheet template that we use in our regular blog post outreach, you can download that at postaga.com/DL. But aside from just giving you the spreadsheet and just letting you figure it out, I want to go through the different columns in your spreadsheet and why they're there. So the first columns that I have are basic contact information. What's the name of this contact? And how can you reach them? You're going to want to track both, their website name as well as their website URL separately. The reason that I have all these different fields is because, in your outreach emails, you're going to want to mention their website. So it sounds like you know who they are specifically about their website, and it shows that you're a human and you know who you're actually reaching out to specifically. You've probably gotten these emails that say things like, "Hey, John Smith, I love your blog, www.website.com." And that just makes you sound robotic, and that email is destined for the trash bin. It's much better to say something like, "Hey, John, I love what you're writing at Final Fantasy News Online. I really liked that post that you did on which Final Fantasy character are you?" Something like that. Something that shows specificity, that you are familiar with their website, and post specifically, not just random information. The next set of columns that I have are really related to specific outreach methods. You won't need all of this information for every single contact, but you will for some. So columns like relevant post URL are going to be that contact's relevant blog post that they have that you want a backlink from. Again, it may not be relevant for every single contact, but that's fine. Then there's the skyscraper URL field. That'll only be relevant for the contact that we're doing outreach related to skyscraper technique. And then there's a drop-down field for outreach type so that you can track what type of contact this is so that you know how to approach them. And also so that we can get data eventually so we can see, all right, which types of outreach are we engaging in and how effective are they? Like, so how is skyscraper doing compared to link roundup outreach, for example? And then the last set of columns that we have are related to outreach tracking. And these are meant to keep track of your outreach dates and your results. You know, we're going to generally recommend reaching out to each contact 3 times per contact. And with these fields, you can kind of see when did you reach out to them, when do you need to reach out to them next, kind of helping you keep tabs on all of that. And also having a field for results so you can see, were we successful or were we not? What can we learn from all these outreach efforts to see what we can improve upon for the future. So that's really our spreadsheet. Now let's talk about Hunter.io. If you're not familiar with it, Hunter.io is a database tool that can help you find anyone's email address. Really, you just insert the website address and it will spit back the email addresses that Hunter.io has of any contacts at that email address. Basically, it's a scraper, and it scrapes the internet for any email addresses that Hunter.io can find. And you'll see in this example that you'll see, like, I may be trying to reach someone at a specific domain, but they may not have that person's contact info. But in the example, you can see, all right, it knows the construction of the email address. So if I'm trying to reach Andy at Offsprout, well, it knows Sam at Offsprout is Sam at Offsprout. So Andy at the Offsprout is probably, his first name at Offsprout if you're trying to reach him in particular. So knowing what the construction is of email addresses at a domain is nearly just as helpful as having a list of every single person's email address at the domain if they don't have it. So Hunter.io is a really, really helpful tool because I don't know if you've done outreach before where you just try and guess email addresses, but if you've been on the receiving end of that, you'll know that, okay, this person doesn't really know who I am. If they tried every email address and they try to reach out to me at like info at the email address or general or help at the email address, they don't know who I am, and so I'm going to be less likely to want to respond to them because it seems like they're just doing a cold outreach effort as opposed to having my specific email address. Next, I want to talk about different SEO research tools, which you're going to need as well. Different tools are good for different things. Tools like Ahrefs, Moz, SEMrush, BuzzSumo, and even Google are going to be helpful to us. And they all can do different things, and they're all good for different things. For example, when we're doing outreach for link roundups, we only need Google, and you'll see that in another video. But if we're doing research for skyscraper technique, I'm going to need something like Ahrefs, SEMrush, or BuzzSumo. And one other thing is that these tools are not free. Unfortunately, Hunter.io does have a free version, but Ahrefs, SEMrush, and BuzzSumo are all premium options. And it's sometimes it's hard to pick one because some of them are better for different things. Like, I personally think that Ahrefs is good for skyscraper technique, and it does that very well. But if you tinker around with these different tools, you might find that you may want one or several of them, and really it's up to you. But they all start around $99 per month, and that's basically the SEO tools in a nutshell. Next up, we're going to talk about individual outreach strategies. Specifically, we're going to be talking about link roundups, reaching out to other blog posts that aggregate articles related to a given topic or industry. We're going to talk about skyscraper technique, writing the best post on a given subject and then reaching out to other blogs that cover it to link to that instead of other posts. We're going to talk about mention outreach, reaching out to people that we're linking to in our articles to get them to mention and link to us as well. And we're going to talk about related content outreach, reaching out to related blog posts to our blog post. And that's all coming up next in our series on creating a link building outreach campaign. If you would like this video, subscribe to our channel, share it with anyone else you think would benefit from learning about link building to improve their SEO and get more links to and ultimately build traffic to their websites.